Okay, so hey, everyone, welcome back. It's time for another deep dive. And, today we're tackling something pretty huge, right? Something that I think we all know is kind of important,
Hmm.
speaking English.
Yeah.
But we're going to go a little deeper than just, the obvious stuff.
Right.
We're using this really cool episode from the English Dose podcast called English Your Visa to the World
Interesting.
to explore how speaking English fluently can open up opportunities you might not even think about.
Yeah, I think a lot of people get stuck on just the basic level, like, oh, it helps me when I travel, or maybe it can boost my career a little bit.
Yeah.
But there's so much more to it.
Totally. And the podcast kind of starts off strong by throwing out this big number.
Okay.
Over 1.5 billion people worldwide speak English.
Wow.
But what does that actually mean, for you and me?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's not just about like being able to order a coffee in a foreign country, right? That huge number means that English is like this common ground, especially in things like business or science or academics.
Yeah.
It lets people from all over the world share ideas really quickly and actually work together.
It's funny you mentioned that. I was traveling in France once, in this really rural area, and I got totally lost. And I needed to ask for directions, but my French was, well,
Uh-oh.
it wasn't pretty.
I've been there.
It was a disaster. And I remember thinking, if I just knew a little bit of English, even basic English, I could have talked to someone.
Totally.
Even if they weren't from the area.
Yeah, exactly. Even just a little bit of English can help you out in those situations and lead to some cool experiences.
Yeah.
And of course, the better you get at English, the more possibilities open up. Think about it. There's a big difference between understanding a few phrases from a travel book
Yeah.
and actually having a deep conversation about something complex.
Oh, for sure.
Right.
It's not just about knowing the words.
Right.
It's about understanding the culture and how to use them.
Exactly.
Speaking of which, the podcast also talked about how speaking English can help you get ahead in your career. But what really caught my attention was the idea that it can actually affect how much money you make.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Tons of international companies use English as their main language. So if you can communicate clearly in English, negotiate deals, present ideas, you're going to have a big advantage in the job market, which means you can get paid more and get promoted faster.
It's almost like learning English is like an investment in your future.
It really is.
And this applies to education too, right?
Definitely.
The podcast mentions some big name universities like Harvard and Oxford,
Uh-huh.
and they teach in English, obviously.
Yeah, so speaking English fluently doesn't just get you into those schools. It means you can actually participate,
Mm.
do research, publish your work, collaborate with other smart people.
That's so cool.
It's about becoming part of a global conversation.
I like how you put that. It is like a conversation. Because I think a lot of people